Apologies. Hello, everyone, and good evening from Taiwan. I'd like to welcome you all to our second event of the day, announcing our special issue titled, "What Do Futures Look Like?" This special issue is guest edited by Yelena Muzykina and also Cheryl Doig. And with that, I will turn it over to Yelena.
Well, and everyone is welcome again. But first of all, I'll give you the chance to Anisah to explain a few things which are very important for our special issue about the Journal of Future Studies, why it was chosen, why this initiative came up. So Anisah, that's your space.
Okay, right. Welcome everyone, and I am the managing editor for the Journal of Future Studies. The Journal of Future Studies is an independent, open access, peer-reviewed online journal. I'm sorry, that's just a mouthful, but it's important to recognize that we are not a company, a profit-making company. So we are non-profit, independent, cooperative. So here would like to refer to that. And we are peer-reviewed journal. So for what it means by peer review here means that all submissions has to go through a peer review process where the reviewers are expert in the field who know very much about the area of interest that you have written about. So if you're looking at scenario planning, so we have a select group of people as reviewers for scenario planning. And if you're looking at anticipatory futures, so we have a group of people who are, expert in that field, who very much experienced and have done research in that area, in each particular area. So what we try to do is, or in terms of peer review journal, the peer review process is that the reviewers will give you good feedback to improve your work. That's the whole idea. So the journal, JFS, we call it passionately in our abbreviation is JFS. We encourage authors to connect your work. So each of us may come from different background, like for example, Edward and Farouk, they are anthropologists. So how do you connect your work with futures methodologies? And so we want very much when you write your work, and this is where Yelena and Cheryl will come in to support you, to guide you in making sure that you make reference to some of the past literature from reputable journals, Futures, Foresight, Technological Forecasting, and Social Change as an example of a select few. You need to cite the work to grow the literature and the body of knowledge. So our journal, the journal, operates with a very small team. So we are unlike, the big publishing house like Sage, Emerald, or Elsevier, or any of those big publishing house where they have a huge, big team of production team or copy editing team. We do everything ourselves, and we're really very small. So we have Sohail Inayatullah, who is our advisor, and Professor Chen Kohua, he's the Dean of the College of Education. And so the people who are actively working are really Jose Ramos, our senior editor, me, SeeSee, Anisah is the managing editor. Then we have Jabbar Ismadi, production editor, and Edward here is our digital media manager or social media manager. So our team is relatively small. And because you don't have to pay to get published and people don't have to pay to read the paper, we really need the authors to work together with us in making their work camera ready, if you like, in the publishable format and quality. So that's about Journal of Future Studies. So why this special issue comes about is I was thinking about, I've been looking at so many emerging futurists fellowship on LinkedIn, like Prisha was saying that he comes from one. So there's so many, they're calling for a fellowship application. And I just feel like, there's this so much talent and so much new knowledge that we need to capture. And also, we also, you know, as the field progress, the founding generation, the pioneer in the field are all like, you know, they have already gone through the phase. Now we feel like, you know, it is time that we start to nurture a new batch, a new generation of futurists. And this is where the idea of this special issue came about. So I proposed it to Sohail and say yes, and we need to find mentors, people who are really passionate, who could support and mentor these young writers, young researchers. And he gave me a few names, and I contacted Cheryl and Yelena, and they were magical, right? They are so like you can feel like they are so supportive just through their call for paper. And I'm sure you guys are in very good hands when you start working with them. Right. So I want to introduce the guest editor. So Yelena Muzykina will talk about her role in this special issue.
Okay, thank you, Anisah, and thank you everyone for joining us today. And thank you for, well, you know, in all these sessions, most of all, I like pre-session conversations when the recording is off and people can express their opinions more freely. As usually in the community of futurists, whether we are young, old, or like centuries in this field, you feel that you are in the community of peers, of people who share the same vision, who share the same inspirations, even though our backgrounds might be really different. Well, so when I'm actually asked about my educational background, that's the question which makes me puzzled. Because I have six diplomas, 6 degrees, and I have to choose among them. I have a diploma in language, in history, in economy, in cross-cultural studies, in philosophy, and even in Islamic studies. But I also a certified futurist. And I found out in my life that all these previous educational experiences, they were like kind of preparation for what I'm doing at the moment. Because for being a futurist, for me, it means to be a multi-directional, multicultural, multi-dimensional person. Future studies is a field which is universal. You can apply this approach, this discipline to whatever you want, starting from anthropology, economy, business development, world affairs, cultural studies, religious studies, whatever it is, because everything what exists in human society needs development. And we as futurists, we help people to expand their horizons, to see beyond what they have at the moment and what they even can look at the moment. So this horizon expansion is very important. And for us futurists, it is important as well. We, being a part of the discipline, which is fairly new, future studies is less than, well, 100 years old, because the real development of it started in the middle of the previous century, well, like 70, 80 years old. We're still in the progress. New theories emerge, new methods are developed, and new people are coming in. And for us, the guest editors, this process of bringing up to readers this special issue is a very sensitive point. Most of us, mostly because of what Anisah mentioned. We are looking for young voices. And in the last decade, many new associations, new groups of people who try to comprise and combine, bring together young futurists, people who are young in the age and in the experience in future studies together, and help them to express themselves. So our issue, a special issue, will be a platform for them to voice and demonstrate their experience, their knowledge, their feelings, and not only their academic competence. Because even though we are at a different level of academic level, we still learning, and it's a lifelong learning process. We have two sections, and later on we'll talk about that more. The section for essays will give you an opportunity to express what is less rigid, but might be more exciting and appealing for young generation. What is your experience like? We talked with Farouk, who learned recently about future studies, but your ideas about future studies, about the future of medicine, about anthropology might be very valuable, because you will be looking from a different perspective than renowned anthropologist, futurist. And what I learned working with young people, with young generation, their perspective, their dimension, the angle which they use to look into common things might be really uncommon, unusual. And every time when I contact them, I learn a lot. So I really like to share what I know, because it's like, you know, it's like a jar. You keep water in it, but in order to keep that water fresh, you have to share it with others, to pour some new one, fresh one. So the more you share, the better for you and for those who are thirsty, let's say, for knowledge, for new things. So communicating with young people, that's a really precious thing. Helping them, that's the objective, one of the objectives of my life. And sharing knowledge about future studies, about applying these discipline, methods, instruments, that's very important. And that's why I got very much happy when Anisah approached and suggested me to become one of the guest editors. And when I learned that I'm going to do that with Cheryl, I've got even more excited, because we formed an excellent team. Even though I'm kind of called an academic person with more academic background, Cheryl's background is even more important, and all these pieces, they make the whole picture of what we going to use for nurturing you in the process of this special issue publishing. So Cheryl, that's your turn now.
Thanks so much. Kia ora from Aotearoa, New Zealand. So my name's Cheryl and I live in New Zealand, which some people refer to as Down Under, New Zealand, Australia, sort of Pacific Island area. And I live in the South Island in a city called Otatahi, Christchurch, and I would just like to acknowledge the Indigenous people of my country, the Maori people, and in particular the city that I live in and the surrounding areas are the place of an iwi or tribe called Ngai Tahu, and even closer to where I live is the sub-tribe or hapu called Ngai Tuahuriri. So I place myself in their hands, and obviously have a strong background and interest in ensuring that different worldviews are heard and that Indigenous futures are built into some of the work that we're exploring. And so for me, I love the idea of challenging our own worldviews and bringing futures into both personal and professional lives. And my background was originally in education. Until 16 years ago, I was a teacher and school principal, when then I started my own business, Think Beyond, working in strategic foresight, futures thinking, and that's the area I'm passionate about. My doctoral studies were through Griffith University in Brisbane and Gold Coast, and it was during that time, way back, that I came across the whole idea of futures studies through a futurist called Richard Slaughter. And from there, my practice has grown, and the connections with the Association for Professional Futurists and the Journal of Future Studies, etc. There's a huge network around the world, from people who are just beginning to people with more experience, from those who have academic qualifications and some who have different world life experiences in the future space. And I really love that interaction, the fact that there are people that are more quantitative and qualitative, and there's always some amazing people to talk to. And I guess that's why I'm fascinated in this special issue on youth futures. I was saying in the first session that I am a great grandmother, and yes, that's not just a great grandmother, but I have a great granddaughter, and soon to have a great grandson through my sort of my husband's family. And what I think is really, really important in this space is the intergenerational work, the thinking and challenging our own thoughts, but also stepping back and helping younger people who want to get into the strategic foresight, the future studies areas, to do so. And that's why I'm really excited with Yelena to be given this opportunity to help, but not hinder, and to support your growth of your next academic pursuits. And I love the idea that we've got two opportunities, one as an essay, which is a smaller piece, and one that's a longer academic piece, because then that provides a space for all of you. So during this session, there may be some questions that you have, or there may be some ideas that you have. And so in a minute, I'll